Welcome to the Heady Rhythm Podcast, where artificial intelligence meets creativity and the future of music is happening now. Join us as we dive deep into the world of AI music generation, cutting-edge production trends using AI, and the wildest creative advancements in artificial intelligence. From groundbreaking tools to industry-shaking innovations, we explore how technology is reshaping the way we make and experience music. Whether you're a producer, artist, or just a fan of futuristic sounds, this is your go-to spot for insights and mind-expanding discussions. This is the Heady Rhythm Podcast. Let's push the boundaries of music together.
Terms of service agreements, those things we blindly accept dozens of times a year. But what if signing one could accidentally give away rights to your original music or land you in $1 million lawsuit? That's exactly what we're exploring today with Udio's latest update.
You know what's fascinating about this timing? With AI music creation exploding in popularity, these platforms are scrambling to protect themselves while trying to maintain user trust.
And this particular update is their third one in recent months. What really caught my attention was how they're expanding their rights over user content while simultaneously trying to limit their own liability. It's like watching a high-stakes game of legal chess.
Let's break down these changes systematically. When you upload anything to Udio, your music, lyrics, or audio files, that becomes input content. And here's where it gets particularly concerning.
The platform can use your input content to train their AI. Think about that. Your original music becomes training data for their system. And they're not just storing it. They're actively using it to improve their AI models, potentially incorporating elements of your work into other users' creations.
So theoretically, a guitarist's original riff could end up in thousands of other songs without their knowledge or consent?
Exactly. And here's the kicker. They've made it crystal clear they're not paying anyone for using their content this way. It's all royalty-free, which is pretty bold considering some of this music could have significant commercial value.
Well, that brings up an interesting point about their new restrictions. They've explicitly banned trying to recreate any artist's voice without authorization, clearly a response to all the recent AI voice cloning controversies.
Right? And it's not just about voice cloning. The terms extend to any attempt to create outputs that impersonate someone else's style or signature sound. But here's where it gets murky. How do you define when something crosses the line from inspiration to impersonation?
That's particularly relevant given the recent wave of lawsuits against AI music companies, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely crucial. And get this. They've capped any potential damages at either $100 or whatever you've paid them in the last 6 months. So, if Universal Music comes knocking because your AI-generated track sounds too similar to one of their songs, you're essentially on your own.
The scope of their license is pretty staggering, too. They can use your content for marketing, license it to others, even create new versions of it.
And here's something that really concerns me. They reserve the right to identify you publicly as the creator at any time. So if something goes viral, whether in a good way or bad, they can put your name out there without even asking you first.
You know, looking at the bigger picture, these terms really reflect how complex the intersection of AI and creative work has become.
They do. And it's forcing us to rethink how we approach creative ownership in the digital age. For musicians using these platforms, I'd recommend keeping detailed records of everything you create. Save all iterations, document your process, maintain multiple backups.
That kind of documentation could be crucial if you ever need to prove the origin of your work.
And here's another vital consideration. Be extremely selective about what original content you upload. Remember, anything you input becomes part of their training data, and you're giving them incredibly broad rights to use it.
So, what's your bottom line advice for musicians considering these AI platforms?
Use them thoughtfully and strategically. They can be powerful tools, but understand exactly what you're agreeing to. Keep detailed records, be selective about uploads, and always have a backup plan. Most importantly, don't rely on them exclusively. They should be one tool in your creative arsenal, not your entire foundation.
That's a really balanced perspective on what's becoming an increasingly complex issue.
And remember, these terms will likely continue to evolve as the technology develops and legal frameworks catch up. Staying informed isn't just good practice, it's essential for protecting your creative work in this new AI-driven landscape. The future of music creation is exciting, but it requires us to be more vigilant than ever about understanding what we're agreeing to when we click that I accept button.
The future of music production is about to get wild. Artificial intelligence and bedroom producers are completely revolutionizing what's possible in ways that would have seemed like science fiction just a few years ago. Today, we're exploring 5 groundbreaking genres that are going to dominate 2025.
You know what's fascinating about these emerging genres? They're not just coming from traditional studios anymore. The democratization of music production tools has completely changed the game.
Exactly. Let's start with Hood Trap. It's absolutely exploding on social media right now. What's incredible is how it takes this minimalistic approach at 160 beats per minute, but creates this intensely dark atmosphere with just a few elements.
The way producers are using those low piano notes and harmonic scales to create that ominous feeling is really something else. But it's the drum patterns that really define the genre, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. That signature dotted eighth note snare pattern is like the genre's DNA. And when you combine it with those heavily distorted 808s, which, by the way, are being pushed to their absolute limits with modern production techniques, it creates this incredibly powerful sound.
Speaking of pushing limits, we should talk about breakcore. It's fascinating how a genre from the 90s is making such a massive comeback with modern production techniques.
The evolution of breakcore is mind-blowing. We're talking about producers taking these classic drum breaks, like the famous Amen break, and completely deconstructing them at 170 beats per minute. The way they're using modern DAWs to create these intricate stutter effects and glitch patterns would have been impossible in the 90s.
That's what makes it so exciting. It's like they're taking this established genre and completely reinventing it with modern technology. But then we have something completely different with Botanica.
Botanica is just incredible. Imagine taking the startup sound of a vintage gaming console, mixing it with recordings from a Japanese garden, and then processing everything through modular synthesizers. It's this beautiful marriage of organic and digital elements.
The technical aspects of Botanica production are fascinating. Could you break down how they're achieving those unique textures?
So they're using these really innovative techniques, like running piano samples through convolution reverb, where the impulse responses are actually forest sounds. Then they're taking things like kalimba recordings, speeding them up, pitch shifting them, and creating these absolutely otherworldly textures. And at 83 beats per minute, it gives everything this dreamy, floating quality.
That's such a contrast to UK Garage, which is seeing this incredible renaissance at 130 beats per minute. The way it's evolved from its 90s roots is remarkable.
The modern UK garage scene is taking those classic syncopated rhythms, but adding these incredibly sophisticated chord progressions. We're talking minor ninths and diminished chords that you typically hear in jazz. And those chopped vocals are being processed in ways that weren't even possible when the genre first emerged.
And the production quality is just getting better and better. Those perfectly swung hi-hats and the way producers are playing with space in the mix.
It's like they're taking that classic UK garage bounce, but giving it this ultra modern polish. But you know what really excites me? Private school piano. The way Kelvin Momo has influenced this whole new direction in Amapiano is just revolutionary.
The fusion of those soulful Rhodes chords with electronic elements is creating something entirely new, isn't it?
Absolutely fascinating. They're taking these complex seventh chords that you'd hear in a jazz lounge, combining them with traditional log drums, but then processing everything to create this incredibly laid-back atmosphere at 110 beats per minute. It's like they're building a bridge between traditional South African music and modern electronic production.
What really strikes me is how all these genres are pushing boundaries in different ways. Each one seems to be solving a different musical puzzle.
That's such a great observation. Hood Trap is pushing the boundaries of minimalism. Breakcore is redefining rhythm itself. Botanica is revolutionizing sound design. UK Garage is evolving its harmonic language, and private school piano is creating this beautiful fusion of electronic and acoustic elements.
How do you think AI is going to impact these genres moving forward?
Well, I've been experimenting with some AI music tools, and the possibilities are mind blowing. Imagine AI generating complex breakcore drum patterns that would take hours to program manually, or creating unique nature sounds for botanica that don't exist in the real world. We're really just scratching the surface.
The democratization of these tools is going to be interesting to watch. When anyone with a laptop can access professional level production capabilities,
That's exactly what makes this such an exciting time. We're seeing bedroom producers in completely different parts of the world collaborating and creating these amazing fusion genres. The barriers to entry are disappearing, and creativity is becoming the only limiting factor.
looking ahead to 2025, which of these genres do you think has the most potential for mainstream impact?
I think private school piano has huge potential because it bridges that gap between electronic and acoustic music in a way that appeals to both traditional and modern audiences. But hood trap could explode if the right artist comes along and really pushes it into the mainstream.
The social media factor is going to be huge in determining which genres break through.
Definitely. And what's really exciting is how these genres are already starting to influence each other. I'm hearing hood trap elements in UK garage tracks, botanica textures in private school piano. The cross pollination of ideas is creating something entirely new.
So, what's your advice for producers who want to experiment with these genres?
Start with the fundamentals of each genre. Understand the core elements like those dotted eighth notes in hood trap or the convolution techniques in botanica. But don't be afraid to break the rules and create your own subgenres. That's how all these genres started in the first place. Someone decided to experiment and try something new.
The future of music production is looking incredibly exciting.
It really is. And remember, these 5 genres are just the beginning. With technology evolving so rapidly and creative boundaries constantly being pushed, who knows what new genres we'll be talking about by the end of 2025? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this such an amazing time to be involved in music production.